Professor Blessing Irwin, who will present the tips and tricks in retrograde recanalization in complex occlusions.
Yeah, dear Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm very happy to present this presentation here. I'm an interventional angiologist. I'm not a vascular surgeon, but I do work very closely together with my vascular surgeons. So when it comes to crossing CTOs, obviously we have a number of support catheters via CTO devices available. We have access to retrograde access, we have access to re-entry devices, and also we can combine all of the armamentarium above. Obviously, depending on availability and also cost issues do play a very, very important role all over the planet. So what about the basic strategies? As I said, there are some CTO devices, they are dedicated to re-entry devices, but then when it comes to crossing, the retrograde access does open up the door and will dramatically improve the acute technical success in experienced hands. And I want to walk you a little bit through that rationale, tips and tricks, how I do that, and what about the clinical data. Often enough, it's almost impossible, or at least very difficult, to break that fibrotic proximal cap. And once you have a retrograde access, the wire just flies through from retrograde. Has to do with the morphology and the shape of the proximal and the distal cap. So what about my setup? I always just use local anesthesia at a retrograde puncture site. I always puncture with a 21 gauge needle, 4, 7 or 12 centimeters under angiographic guidance. Obviously, you can also take advantage of ultrasound. I always access with a 018 wire. The V18 from Boston is my wire of choice. I always try to stay sheathless, so I use a support catheter. And then once I manage to get that wire through with that different techniques out there, I go for a wire externalization, a pull-through wire, and I always finish that adjunctive therapy via the antegrade access, and I try to achieve hemostasis by either manual compression and or balloon inflation from the inside. And very important, it's so easy and inexpensive. It just takes a 21 gauge needle, a 018 wire, and a 018 support catheter. So it did open up really the door for a very impressive high technical success rate, and you can puncture the distal SFA, the popliteal artery, proximal tibial artery, or even metatarsal arteries. But obviously all people, they always show their successful cases, but we need some data to really back up safety and technical success. One of my friends, he managed to gather more than 1,500 consecutively performed retrograde recanalization attempts, always as a secondary choice. They all failed via the antegrade attempt. And if you want to look here for the demographics, obviously very open for discussion, that we also use that retrograde access in selected cases, also in claudicants, not only in patients with CLTI. So these were the retrograde accessed arteries here, sheathless in the vast majority of the cases, very complex lesions, long lesions with a high technical success of more than 90% in those more than 1,500 consecutive cases. What about complications? Obviously, you never want to burn any bridges. You want to keep options, future bypass landing zones, and so forth. At least in the short term, follow-up within 30 days, a rather acceptable exercise-related complication rate. One of the Achilles heels, though, what about long-term patency? And there we have at least 500 plus cases, followed up for several years by André Schmidt from Leipzig, Germany. And obviously this is a, I'd say, acceptable but not very impressive long-term patency. But I think it has very little to do with the retrograde access, but this is more like the nature of the sickness of the patients and the complexity of the lesions. Let me finish up with 4 case examples just to make things a little clearer. So this was a CLTI patient, not a very good bypass candidate by comorbidities, and I did try to go for an antegrade approach, open up that dorsal pedal artery, and I failed. That's the injection through the balloon, dissected, almost perforated dorsal pedal artery. So I bailed out by a retrograde access of the distal tibial posterior artery, and I did manage with all those tips and tricks with the card, reverse card, dual balloon rendezvous to get that case done, and I did put the balloon in then after successful via passage from above. And I did take advantage of now having access to that arch, and I was able to also get that anterior tibial artery with a decent final result. You can also use a re-entry device inserted from retrograde and puncture a balloon as a target. It's called target balloon assisted technique, and then you pull that wire, which is now caught in the now deflated and ruptured balloon for externalization, and again you manage your procedure from above. The third case, very aggressive case I have to admit, but I did do that together with my vascular surgeon. There was a patient with several failed bypass attempts, obviously some stenoses in the distal external artery, and there was no proximal SFA left over, so we did decide to go very aggressive for a puncture of the distal SFA, and then we did take advantage of a retrogradely inserted, can you run that video by any chance? This is a Pro catheter that we borrowed from the cardiologists. I cannot run that video. Any chance to run that video? So we just broke through that fibrotic tissue. There's no SFA left whatsoever, and then we managed to get that wire through, and we finished that. And did take a very high pressure balloon to get that fibrotic lesion cracked here. And it does not necessarily bleed, it's just fibrotic scar tissue. You do not necessarily need a Viabahn or any other covered stent. Usually I do place a Supera sheathless reverse with the Presto technique to just get that proximal lesion here. I do not have a follow-up on that case, but I do have one on the very last case. This is again a prosthetic bypass, obviously, to the profunda, no such thing as a proximal SFA, and then again here with a B-back catheter re-entry device over here inserted and punctured into that prosthesis. That's the Supera placed reverse, and then again that's after the final stent deployment, and this is a more than 2-year follow-up. So they do stay open in a obviously somewhat suboptimal number of percentage, but be prepared for a redo procedure. So let me summarize: high technical success rate with that plethora of techniques, support catheters, re-entry devices, retrograde access, and sometimes also that a combination of a retrograde access and a re-entry device with acceptable complication rates. It's open for discussion, for debate, whether it's acceptable to offer those techniques also to claudicants. And then again, if you combine all those armamentarians, you might be technically successful in cases previously not considered treatable by endovascular means. Thank you very much for your attention.